What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Childish. We are back at it again with another episode of Educate and Dominate, that one-on-one interview series where we take some of the top names in the game and get their insights so we can bring your game to the next level. My next guest is one of the vice leaders of the top 10 guild in the global side, the Asylum, Zer0bit. What's cracking, my man?
What's up, bro?
Not too much, sir. I'm looking forward to getting it down. Zer0bit, guys, he's coming all the way from Brazil, so I definitely want to just give you a quick shout out. Thank you for supporting me from across the pond, sir.
Thank you for bringing me here.
Yeah, yeah, buddy. So, guys, for those that are new to the channel, welcome to the channel. If you are not familiar with Zer0bit, in addition to being a part of one of these top 10 guilds, he also has a YouTube channel, which is going to be down in the description down below. He's one of the few out there in the community that are providing content for the Summoners War community, not just, regular, the English whatnot, but he's providing it on the Brazil side, providing a different language. So, is there anything you kind of want to add to your YouTube channel as far as what you provide in addition to what we already do?
Actually, no. Just go there and subscribe. Watch my
Just go
videos.
there and subscribe.
If you have a question, just comment in the any video. I will answer you. So yes.
Sounds good. And then, so what is the, since I'm not familiar with Brazil and how it all goes down, what is your guys' native language so that people know if they want to go ahead and check it out?
um, we speak Portuguese.
Portuguese. Awesome, awesome, sweet. All right, cool. So we're gonna get right into it, guys. As you guys know, we've been bringing for the last 20 or so episode, we've been bringing some of the top people in the arena. But what I want to go ahead and do with this series, in addition to bringing some of the top players in the arena, is also get some of the top names of the game when it comes to the guild wars. Reaching out to some of the guilds in the top 10, top 5 on both the global, Asian, and Europe servers. So our first bit here is going to be Zer0bit. Going to be talking a little bit about um, his guild, the Asylum, as far as some of the strategies that they use, in addition to a little bit about himself personally when it comes to his arena defense, arena offense, and some of the units that he's been testing out. So without further ado, let's get cracking, my man. Obviously, some people are familiar with your channel, but for those
Mm.
that aren't, why don't you just go ahead and familiarize yourself with the community? First off, how did you get into the video gaming world, in general, and then what brought you to Summoners War?
Well, my father has had a Atari, you know,
Yeah, buddy.
and
Yeah.
my my first game was Pac-Man and Demon's Attack, if I remember correctly. Then my father bought me a Super Nintendo,
Mm.
Killer Instinct, and
Ultra,
Ultra Combo.
Ultra combo.
uh, Super Mario World, um, Mario Kart. Then when I had like 10 or 11 years old, I met the online games. My first game was Tibia. I don't know if you ever heard about it.
Shibia, how do you spell that?
Um, Tibia. Uh, A.
Tibia. No, I haven't heard that one, but I'm sure we'll have some of the community go and chime in down below if they've heard that one.
Then I moved to Maple Story. Maple Story was actually the game I played in my entire life, actually, like 10 years or something. I was top 3. Maple Story actually made me the uh, went to the competitive um scenario of the games.
Sure.
I was top 3 Brazilian and top 12 magician.
Cool, cool, cool. Yeah.
Then yes, then I went to Dota and Dota 2.
Good games, good games.
um, then when I was in the university, I I needed a mobile game because console or computer games was actually pretty hard to play because I was really busy. So I downloaded Summoner's War and I like it. The music was really good and the graphics, the gameplay, yeah, it remembers me like Final Fantasy,
Final Fantasy. Cool.
Fire
Yeah.
Emblem.
Yeah, I remember Final Fantasy. I played that a little bit in the Nintendo Super Nintendo realm. I didn't get too much into the later versions, whatever, but
Hmm.
definitely a great game overall. It's kind of one of those benchmark games that really allowed the people of today to make these high quality games and get us
Yeah.
all excited. So yeah, definitely a great game. Let me see here. So moving into Summoners War, you started to get in there, climbing up in the ranks. How did you actually go about um, getting together with the your small community known as the Asylum?
Well, I was a regular member of the 65 channel.
Right, right.
When I was just a noob, I went there just to learn from the top ranked players. I asked a lot of things, and one of them was my guild leader Smasher. Back then he was D2, D3 ranking, and uh, he was uh, recruiting to his guild, the Asylum. But there's no guild wars a month ago, so yes, I said, oh, uh, may I join your guild? And he said yes. Then came to the guild wars. Uh, we use it to do rotations because I was fighter 3 or something, and I couldn't beat the Malicious, Shadover, uh, Shoguns. They were the top 3 guilds. So I was really weak, but I learned a lot from Reddit, the the forum.
Yeah, great
The
form.
YDCB was actually really good to watch. Nick the Greek. Uh, Let me see. Code Steel channel or William channel. I don't remember.
Yeah, they actually both had a channel if I remember correctly. They're not, obviously they're not making videos like they did before, but they do still have their channels out there if you got the
Yeah,
link. Yeah.
I learned a lot from of arena offense and defense from them. They don't speak at all in their videos, so but still good to watch
Oh
because
yeah. And I recommend that for anybody. So one of the things that I definitely picked up along the way too early on, and there's still some people out there time and time and again. We have a lot of people, not just from Brazil, from the UK, across the seas over in Asia, but we have some people all around the world that do have a couple of YouTube channels out there. While they don't speak our native language, they really provide quality high end arena, high end guild wars, and they kind of showcase the units in a way that even though you may not be able to understand what they're saying or what they're writing down in the video, you still can learn a lot from just watching them and not just watching
exactly.
them. Not just watching how they play, but their strategy. You can see sometimes when something should be quite obvious as to what they do, they choose not to do it. But if you take the time to watch it or rewatch it, like Zer0bit and I have on the various accounts, you will understand, what they did. I think in one of my last videos, um, it was a Guild War video where I had it recorded off camera so I couldn't or off sound so I couldn't commentate. But one of the things that I did instead of I think I had a unit that was getting ready to um, attack. Leica was getting ready to attack a unit that could essentially not. I might be able to kill him, I might not, but I definitely needed to one shot it. And prior to attacking, I had Chasun in the mix, and so
Hmm.
Chasun's Fallen Blossom was up, and instead of throwing it on, um, instead of like attacking somebody or trying to glance and hit somebody, I actually utilize Fallen Blossoms to essentially give me my attack gauge completely back. So even if I don't proc a Violent, I still go before Leica. I still give him the attack buff, and then I guarantee the one shot with his
Yeah.
Vamp. Because with the attack buff, even if you don't crit or not, for Leica he hits so hard in general that he's gonna get the job done. So it's stuff
Hmm.
like that that I saw. Originally from all these other people that really inspired me to kind of create my own style and figure out what I got to do. So yeah, it's
Yes.
well worth the look for. If you haven't seen some of Coastal Williams, some of the old school cats out there definitely got some great content. So take a look at these units that we got right here. We got a nice wide variety of it. In addition to doing really good in the Guild Wars, you're sitting generally around the Conquer 3 to Guardian 2 ranks. I think right now you're sitting what Guardian 2.
Yes.
What is the goal around here for your take on your arena offense? What's your team and how do you go about using it?
My arena offense team is actually Poseidon, Sigmarus, Galleon, and Tiana.
Gotcha. It's cool, and it's funny because I don't see. I mean, Sigmaris was definitely one that I see a lot of people utilize um, in the Dragons B10 teams and whatnot, but I haven't seen it get too much showcasing at least on the videos or whatnot when it comes to arena because he's so squishy. But essentially, with your team, you set it up so that you can basically get the jump and get the fight done within seconds. So what's the sequencing here? Is Tiana going to be your first one?
Yes, Tiana is the first one. She's on Swift Will, so unless you have a buff removal like Chu, because he's usually on spare.
Gotcha.
Uh, the it's kind of she was kind of hard to use Tiana, but uh, since she's on Will runes, the first turn will be mine because you can stun my team, you can death break my team, you can do whatever you want, but her third skill will cleanse everything, and I will attack because the synergy of my team is perfect. You can uh, break the sequence, you know.
Right, right. And
She
so let's see here. One what sitting at 200 speed, and who's your next one to go?
Galleon.
Galleon. Right. So take note, guys. So we've kind of talked about this with gosh, I want to say Berg 420 was the first one that brought it up in our Educate and Dominate series, talking about the utilization of attack gauge increasing and manipulating your team to make sure that they have, roughly 70% of the original attack gauge increasers speed, so that, right when Tiana goes, he will follow up, soon after that. So you're sitting a
Yes,
little bit higher at 180 speed, but at least it's enough to get the job done. So
yes. Then after Galleon, Poseidon comes. Um, I tried the 70 percentage of Tiana's speed, and it didn't work. Some Veramos broke my combo, so I had to increase the Poseidon speed to 159. Yes, and then since he has an AOE skill, has two actually. The third one slow the enemy. So even if you bring Nemesis Room, you can actually like Chasum or Beladion with Nemesis Rooms. Even then, even if I don't Death Break with Galleon, so my attack won't do much damage, and the the HP bar won't decrease that much, you know.
Yeah.
So even with the Nemesis room, if I land slow, Sigmarus will come and one shot everything.
Nice, nice, nice. And I take it that Sigmaris is maxed out, looking good as always. Yeah, definitely sitting great with stats. So as you can see, guys, even as Sigmaris has a little bit of speed to make sure that he falls right in, he does not want the opposing team to get the jump. I see a lot of times, and again, going just reiterating what we just said a minute ago, talking about they bring that attack age boosting in, but they don't consider manipulating the speed of the remaining team so that they can make sure that nobody cuts in. And it all comes down to trial and error, really, guys. Because as you guys heard, he played around with it, and while everything looked good on paper, until he tested it out and found out that the Verimoses that he was running up against were cutting in, playing around and getting a little bit more speed, whether it's 1, 2, 12, just playing around with that number until you can, get it right, allowed him to, find a team that's going to allow him to push into those Guardian 2 rings. So pretty cool, pretty cool.
Mm.
Let's see here. And for the arena defense team, what's your typical team that you like to utilize and why?
My arena defense now is, let me see, uh, Theomars, Veramus, Belladion, and Chloe.
Ramos, Beladion, and Chloe. Cool. Alrighty. And so for you, that has that has worked out pretty good. Do you know more or less what you're sitting at for the success rate?
Well, my successful rate is actually real bad. It's around 23 percentage.
Gotcha. So it seems like the work that you do on the offensive side is what makes it, allows you to, um, progressively stay up there. Just winning more offensively than defensively.
Yes, yes.
Good.
My offense is what makes me really climb faster.
Good.
'Cause-
And so, kind of taking that knowledge and kind of put it into perspective for the viewers that are watching, for the people that are coming up in the ranks. Obviously we make the argument that we need to focus on PVE, first, getting those
Mhm.
giants, dragons, and whatnot done, right? So we get the units in order to excel in PvP. Um, I guess with how your experience has gone down, people should be once they reach that point where they start to get the runes and they start to work on their PvP. Would you say that it's probably better for them coming up in the ranks to work on their offensive team more so than their defensive team, since they can yield so much more, gain so much more out of it versus the defense?
Yeah, you should actually build your offense first. Make a super fast team like Devolutions, Tiana, Zyros. Because in my experience, if you don't have a speed team to kill, to blow up everything in 1 or 2 turns, you won't get the higher rank unless you have a pretty solid defense,
Right.
which I don't have.
Right, right, right. And again, even though units will play a vital role, at the end of the day, it always comes down to runes. So gotta have those runes, guys. Start with the PvE first, and then work your way on to PvP.
Yes.
Cool. So speaking of units that are pretty unique, your guild does a lot of testing with certain units that definitely shine in the arena or guild wars. And it looks like with
Hmm.
one of the units that you guys hit up, I think this one is going to relate to Guild Wars. One of the sleeper units that I know that I've kind of mentioned in the previous video, but it's cool because you guys are testing it out and trying to make it work. Is the Water Inferno Purian. So can you go ahead and talk a little bit about that? How you guys been testing that, and what kind of comps maybe that you've been trying to utilize it with?
Yes, my friends are. We have a group of the Fury crafting, and Pyrion was is one of the one we've been testing, and he's really good actually. His base speed is actually really slow, pretty slow, uh, not even 100. But uh, if you make him on Swift, you don't have to to have like My friend is testing with devolutions, so his devolutions are really slow, you know.
Right, right, right.
So you don't have to make like Burke's devolutions who has almost 200 speed, because Pyrian gives 50% of attack bar and critical hit. So if you focus on attack and critical damage and around 70 critical hit, you're fine, you know.
Right,
Then
exactly.
you bring let me see, buff removal, for example, Praha, Pyrian, and devolutions against Chloe. You most of times you attack between the Chloes and the nukers, so it's really easier to manipulate, you know.
Definitely, definitely. So, again, guys, going back even more so to that Burke one, talking about again the speed illusion kind of teams and whatnot. Obviously, when you're at that stage of the game, being able to manipulate your stats and speed to make sure there's no gap in between. If you can't do that, it seems like this could definitely be an option if you don't have the runes to get their speed up, but maybe your attack power there and crit damage is there, but maybe your crit rate subsets are not where they need to be. So definitely an exciting unit. One of the only farmable units, if not the only farmable, but the only 3-star unit that I can think of that provides an attack gauge increase of 50%. Definitely a
Mm.
sleeper. A lot of people got in touch with this unit back in the day. For those that are old school, utilizing this with a water imp team in order to clear Giants B10 before the change got made. A lot of us, including myself, fought with this unit because I just didn't feel it had so much. It didn't have so much potential. But it was only used for one thing. But yeah, it's definitely one of those units where if I had the ability and the runes to play around with an extra unit like this, I definitely would like it because I don't have the speed based raid runes to do what Burke or some of the other casts do out there in the Guardian 2, Guardian 3 ranks. Very cool find. Very cool find.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. So we also got, in addition to the units that are kind of sleepers, underrated and overlooked, we got a couple that are ones to watch when it comes to Guild Wars, and we got three different ones that Zer0bit wants to kind of get into. We'll hit up the first one here. I think we talked about it a little bit in previous videos, but definitely deserves more credit to go ahead and talk about yet again. So I think it's going to be Lisa, the Fire Neostone Agent.
Yes.
Where's she hiding here? Let's see. Oh, there she is. So go ahead and talk about a little bit about what you've kind of figured out, with your guild and testing and whatnot, and how you go about maybe recommendation and how you would go about ruining this particular individual.
Well, she's really good with nukers beside hers, like Theomars, um, Verdehill, with because of the third skill. She selects 3 random allies and attack. So the passive of Verdehill will actually work, and it will increase the attack bar. So Lisa will attack with 2 other allies. Then Verdehill, for example, will increase everybody's ATB. Mars, as you know, does a lot of damage, even without the death break. So he'll attack twice, So he one shot, not actually one shot. He would hurt the enemy. So as you guys know, if you lose a monster in a match in Guild Wars, it's pretty much the end,
Right.
You have to quit to move on. So if the monster is actually one of your best, like for example, if I lose Bella Dion, I have to make different combos, because Bella is like the soul of my team.
Right. Right. Definitely clutch when using that buff removal whatnot. So it's nice that this particular unit has one as well. And how would you go about ruining this one?
I would run violent focus, speed, attack, or speed critical damage attack.
Right, and it
Yeah.
makes sense being able to be one of the first one. Essentially, if you're trying to utilize it as a Bella as well, being able to remove that buff so that your opponents can tack, um, definitely clutch. And I like the fact that it's at least two beneficial effects. So this is kind of geared towards those Chloe teams. You know, we see them
Mm-hmm.
time and again on there. You know, remove one of the Chloe units and allow yourself to get the attack gauge to push everybody up and get the job done. So really cool. And then of course, if you're lucky enough, getting the violent proc so that you can go ahead and utilize this. So as this reads, even though it does state that it's a little bit different than this one. You get an attack gauge increase when you remove two or more harmful effects. And this particular one, regardless if you remove the harmful effect or not, you still get the opportunity to attack with 3 units. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to make that clear for the people that were curious about that. Pretty darn cool. Awesome. Thank you for that. Let's see. Next up, we got Varus, the Dark Griffin. So tell me a little bit about that. You know, maybe how you guys been utilizing it on your teams, and how you go about running that one.
Yes, Varus is actually really good for tanky light monsters. For example, Darion, Bella. His passive is really good, and he stuns a lot. He's a stun machine, you know.
Right.
Uh, yeah.
And that's one thing that kind of makes him unique towards the other, versus the other Griffins. All the other Griffins' first skill is based off of the attack speed, but this one is all, in addition to being based off the attack speed, it's based, it has the opportunity to stun if you get a critical hit. So
Mm-hmm.
cool. And how would you go about ruining this particular one?
I would build in violent revenge, speed, critical H, and accuracy
Gotcha.
with HP and speed substats.
Cool.
HP and speed substats. Yeah.
Gotcha. And even though we're on the topic of Guild Wars, we've heard a couple of people over the courses of the Educate and Dominate series talk a little bit about this one, in addition to being utilized not just for Guild Wars but for Trial of Ascension Hard. Do you think that there's any change in the actual rune build when it comes to utilizing it versus Guild Wars or TOA? Can we use these interchangeably? Basically, is what I'm asking.
No, for TOA, I actually build the same, but maybe defense substats, because defense is the key for TOA in my opinion. Defense
Gotcha.
in spare rooms.
Gotcha. Cool. All right, and then last one in that group, a nice unit that got a lot of attention when the one of our Educate and Dominate guests, Malfish from Kindred Sage, brought it up. The Dark Warbear coming out the mix, Gorgo. And so, how do you go about utilizing this, or how'd your guildmates go about utilizing this unit? And then, what's your typical rune builds that you have utilized on this one?
Gurgle, I would build him violent, because I like the procs. Procs make it's like sometimes you about to die, then you proc a lot and wipe the whole team, the enemy team. Since all of his skills scales with HP, I would build him violent, maybe even revenge or energy or nemesis, full HP with speed substats. Because if you make a monster super slow, you won't have a chance to attack. So
Gotcha. And what about going all HP versus like a kind of a hybrid bruiser style with a little bit of damage, HP crit damage, HP? Would you recommend crit damage on the 4 slot if you got the runes to back it up, or is the modifiers, the damage modifiers on this unit good enough to where he can run HP all around and still do well?
Well, the third skill gives 70 critical hit, if I remember. Yes, 70. So if you have the right runes like critical damage with HP substats, for sure it's really good to make HP critical damage HP.
Cool, awesome. All right, moving on. One of the cool things, guys, that we want to go ahead and do in this particular series with the guild wars, bringing the top guilds on board, is talk a little bit about their not just their teams and some of their makeups, but in addition to that, some of the strategies that helped them climb into the upper ranks. So, in your eyes, Zer0bit, what do you think are some of the big things that you've kind of learned along the way with regards to your guild that has allowed you guys to climb up?
Organization. Bro, if
Organization.
you don't have a organized guild, you won't move forward. You won't climb higher because it's really tough. When we fight Malicious, Absolute Void, or Shadower, if you do a simple mistake, it might change the roles, the role, the role fights. You know, like 3 draws, probably making your guild lose. Uh, I would say when you reach the forgot the word. When you reach the it's not the time. When you start to kill every guild, like your attack is like unstoppable. Like you
Right.
kill everyone. You can hold G3, like low G3. Uh, then you start to improve your defense. You know, you
Right.
look at the top ranked guilds defense, like Malicious. They their synergy is really good because for example, Malicious use a lot of Veromos, Bella, and Verdehill in defense. So if you lose to someone using this defense, you pretty much lose to everybody, you know, because and might be your main team. Like I like to bring Chloe, Tilmars, Chloe, and Bella against those teams, so I can one shot everything. So I would say pay attention to your enemy's defense, see what is good and what is not, like a feedback. And if it's good, try to bring it to your guild. You know.
Yep. Yep. Actually, I'll and hopefully he doesn't get he doesn't get upset. I'm going to use a great example here if I can. I don't know if it'll allow me to do it. I'll talk about one of my vice leaders. So we're constantly trying to evolve our defense, right? Because we're kind of in that same boat that you were um, with the what's it called, with the the strength of the offense, focusing on the offense to make sure that you can climb into Guardian 3, but then definitely continuously working on your defense to go ahead and
Mhm.
do it. So one of the things that I know people take for granted is taking a look at the defensive logs, and checking the consistency of those logs
Yes.
as you go in the week. So I think since it's Sunday, it probably cleared. Yeah, it went ahead and cleared, but um, my guild leader was testing out a particular team this week in his second round team that was doing okay, but he wanted it to be better. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. We took a look at the end of the week and noticed that out of 21 fights on that particular team, he only won or drew, with the opponent there. I think 2 out of the 21 times. So it's definitely nowhere close to what he was, generating from the thing. And while some people might look at that really bad, at the end of the day, it just comes down to trial and error, testing out new things and whatnot you can't figure out. You can't make the necessary changes without doing some testing and
Mm.
figuring out what works for you. Playing around with those runes, those units, those synergies and whatnot. So, but that's the cool thing, guys. Can go to the anybody can go to this and take a look at your members as well as yourself, and take a look at those offensive logs and defensive logs. In
Mm.
addition to that, I believe vice versa, when you're fighting somebody in the guild wars, you can actually take a look, pull them up and take a look at their defensive logs as well. If I'm correct, if I stand correctly. So, from what I
Mm.
remember, I was able to see their defensive logs and check out and see the consistency or inconsistency. So I would notice that, as we understand, with the Guardian 3 guild pushing up, you're generally going to see a lot of defense successfuls, but into the mid to late stages of the week, they'll start kind of progressing into that, maybe a defensive draw, defense success, defensive draw, defensive success, and then later in the week when it comes down to that last few days and in the rush hour, you're going to have a few more draws, a few more losses. Seeing that kind of progression lets you know that the team is really where it needs to be. It's just that at the late stages of the game, the people that are going after to attack you are the ones that are, um, they're
Pretty
attacking you because they feel that they
comfortable.
can take you out, right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so if you notice that some of these teams, while they may look on paper pretty, oh yeah, I can take them, whatever, take the time to look at their defense log, because if you notice that they're getting an absurd amount of defensive win, and it's just consistency is from the beginning of the week to the end of the week, obviously something is different about this team that you're not seeing, and no one else is seeing when they attack us. So in addition to checking it out, making sure you take good notes down on your fights and letting your guild members know, just like Zer0bit was saying, talking about the communication and the organization is vital for your success, trying to improve yourself into those guardian ranks. So very
Yeah.
cool.
And one thing about defense that I reminded, um try to make defense against free-to-play players. Free-to-play, because uh, like if you can show them my defense,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So
my
we'll
defense.
we'll get into it right now. So
Yeah, yeah, that one.
all right.
Um, my defense on the paper, the second round is really bad, but my strategy here is like, since there's a Katarina and Chloe, people tend to use Bella, and if you don't bring Bella in my first round, you're dead. You're dead, because my team is really fast. I'm trying to find a speed room for Tilmars with decent stats. But if you don't bring Bella for my first round, you're dead. Then you bring Bella to my second team, but my Katarina has 71 resistance, and if your Bella has low accuracy, you're dead again. Because if Galleon used his third skill, Chloe shields, but Katarina don't use her third skill and use her second, she will hit she will hit really hard and probably kill one of your monsters.
Right. And considering how you got this kind of set up, um, I mean, it's without a doubt the most common setup is going with a
Mm-hmm.
Rage Blade kind of combination.
Yeah.
Considering that there is the opportunity for RNG not to be in your favor, have you ever thought about rocking, at least for the Katarina, if you have the runes to back it up and the sets to back it up? Have you ever thought about rocking a violent set just in case she does not do the third skill?
But if close shields and she do not use her third skill, um, she won't ignore defense like when she procs, because she needs the shield.
Right, and that's what I was saying. So like, let's say RNG is not on your favor, and
Hmm.
the Chloe doesn't put up her fanatic, and in
Hmm.
addition to that, you had the Katarina. Galleon did his buff, but Katarina didn't go for a third shield. Let's say she decided to go for a second skill. If the
Hmm.
violent set was on her and you had the runes to back it up, being able to get the type of crit rate and crit damage that you need for this unit to be successful, couldn't there be still a reason for going violent in addition to going rage? Because the fact of it is that if you somehow manage, um, let's say fanatic, let's say we can even say fanatic goes off. Let's say fanatic goes off and she uses her second skill. Even she'll use her
Hmm.
second skill. She's obviously going to be ruined enough to essentially maybe one shot, or hit a Theo or hit anybody for that matter,
Hmm.
and get the opportunity to go again. If she is able to kill somebody with that first, she has the attack buff and the defense break. She'll get that invincibility, and then possibly proc an additional turn and get the opportunity to use her, sort of promise there with the third skill. So
Yeah, she could work with violent, but since I use her in offense, you do offense.
right, yeah,
It's really because get over 200 critical damage on violent is really hard to reach.
definitely, and having that amount is kind of what you need to make sure that you're killing about 1 to 2 units at a pop.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's around
yeah,
that. Mhm.
very cool. I always wondered that because I was like, man, if you got the damage that people are hitting with these, I've seen YDCB and some of the other ones hit extremely hard with that second skill. I'm like, shit, if they were really utilizing on a arena defense, I would wonder if anybody would consider playing around with it, with a violence that's similar to the Camila or something like that, and seeing if
Mhm.
they did get fortunate enough to you know on the defense broken unit one shot them and then had the opportunity to go with their third skill yet again. So cool. Let's see. So in addition to Zer0bit's team, we have a couple other teams with his guild members that we're going to be going ahead and showcase. So we'll go ahead and slide over to Instinct and talk about his particular setup here. Definitely a standard team on the left side here, but we definitely got a
Yeah.
unique team on the right. So can you talk a little bit about the team on the right and why it's so successful?
Yes, he's Dark Sylph, Ashbel. He's really fast. It's over 250 speed, if I remember correctly. And the first team is like the same strategy I'm using. You bring someone to for like you need Chloe for bust for both teams. Like you're not G3 who has over 30, 40, 6 stars, so you can switch whenever you want. Uh, his Ashubel will sleep you, then uh, Jubel will death break, and maybe Asher will use his third skill and one shot everything. So I don't like Asher's AI. For me, it's really bad in defense, but he's doing great. So I guess.
Yeah. If it's generating the wins,
Yeah.
might as well might as well go with it. So again, guys, just to kind of reiterate, if you didn't catch that too, I know that Zer0bit mentioned that the accent is so strong it might be hard to understand. So I'll kind of chime in there when I can. When setting up these Guild War defenses, we are especially when you're beginner, mid to late, moving into the late game. We have ourselves a nice handful of units, but generally speaking, we build one Chloe, or we build one Bella, or we build one Bernard, or whatever the case may be. We build one Theo. We're not fortunate enough to have two or three of these, combinations, so we can only bring, one to the mix. We can't bring duplicate units. So setting up your Guild Wars defense to force the opponent to, they're going to basically have to pick and choose if they're going to go for you. Which one do they feel is where Bella's going to be the most successful, to get the job done, or a Theo or whatever. Being able to force the opponent to, force them like, forcing them to, how do I say, to use, make a choice between one or the other is definitely very, very strong, because if they can't bring their top team for this particular setup and the top team for this particular setup, they have to pick and choose, random themes to kind of fill in. Everything gets thrown off because the synergy gets thrown off. People at this stage of the game are synergizing their units to work with, one specific team, and so if you have to break up that team, you can in turn lose the fight because your units are not fully synergized. And we've shown time and time and again on the YouTube channels, Zer0bit as well as mine, that the synergy of the team, if it's strong, it can get past a lot of things. I know one of my favorite teams was Jultan, Theo, and Jasoon. Their speed is within one apiece, and it works. It works like a champ, despite not having
Yeah.
immunity. Like, basically now, all I want to do is get, be able to slap a will set on all three of them. But I utilize Nemesis so much with Jasoon. If I can basically get a will rune on those three, I probably would use that for one of my teams, in addition to, because right now I think one of my teams is Theo, Veramos, and Shasoon. But if I could rock, Jultan in there with Will on three, then that would be
Mhm.
something else. So, uh, yeah. Let's see here. We got a couple more here. Thanks again, Instinct, for giving us the opportunity to showcase your team. We do appreciate it. Very unique setup here with a very high speed Dark Sylph. I'm super excited to hopefully find you in the Guild Wars one day and give it a shot. So, let's see. And I'm not even gonna I'm not even gonna try to pronounce this one, man. Help me out with this one.
Shufazern.
Sylphazern. All right.
Something like that.
So this particular team, both pretty cool setups, but definitely the one that sticks out to me as far as being unique is going to be the second team. A lot of people I saw in the beginning to mid stages of the Guild Wars, people utilizing, the fire silks and whatnot. But in this particular situation, even at the late stages, the 33 ranks, this is one of his standard teams. So can you talk about this particular team on the right and why is it so successful?
He doesn't like to do much arenas on Sunday, so his his position in our defense is low,
Right, right.
So his runes is actually guardian runes, but his position is like C1 or C2, so it's like a trap.
Trap
Uh,
defense?
what?
Yeah, like a trap defense?
Yes, trap defense. So uh, the strong people won't attack him. So like the weaker people, weakest people of the enemy guild will attack him, and his synergy with Beretta, Amir, and Bella is really good because Beretta goes, then Bella death break, and Amir used his third skill. Uh, it would be better if he had AoE death break like Galleon, for example, because it pretty much one shot. Because Amir has high multiplier on his third skill
Right.
with a lot of dots and attack buff and death break. So uh, it doesn't win that much, but it's enough.
Right. And I'm assuming that his Beretta is probably despaired to get the additional stun proc
Exactly.
possibly, and in
Yes.
order to keep
Yes.
up the
It's fair.
to increase the multiplier on the third skill. So the multiplier is
Mhm.
based on harmful effects on Amir.
Yeah.
So obviously, the more stuns you got, definitely the strength it work. The better it works. So
Mhm.
yeah, very very cool team. Let's see what we got next. I think this is our last one, Zix. Is that right?
Yes. Ziggs is our best defense. Is like a troll defense. He's Veramos, Aman, and Aman is freaking fast. Like his Aman has around 60 speed from subs. His burner is around 260 speed, and Verumus around 200. So when I saw his defense, I I thought how this guy can win with that farmable team, you know.
Right.
But people uh, bring a team, so but his team outspeed and kills everybody. He's like successful all the time, you know.
Gotcha. So, and that's the cool thing. He kind of this kind of reiterated what we're talking about in the previous theme. What the cool thing about this Guild Wars is that it's pretty straightforward. When we look at the Guild Wars defenses and thinking about what we're going to go for, at the end of the day, we got to put the best runes on the best units, but creating the team that not just synergizes well, but invites the user to attack you. Kind of setting up that trap defense, making them think that they can beat you when in all reality, they have their team so unorthodox, so unique that it allows them to, um, you know, take advantage of you and generate, the draw or the loss on that particular fight in order to kind of, get themselves, one step closer to a successful defense. So that's pretty unique. I can't remember the gentleman's name. I hope one day, if he's ever following this channel, he go ahead and do a little shout out, whatnot. But um, I can't even remember how to pronounce it. It was like Haba Daba something or Haba Wabadu. I mean, I know it sounds really, really weird. He had this really weird name, but he was running. It was random. I was looking at Guardian 2 ranks, looking at some people's runes and whatnot, and he had this despair, uh, Amon. I want to say it was either Despair Revenge or Despair Blade or something or the other. Um, Amon that was well over 190 speed on Despair.
Jesus.
Um, and of course, I think, like I said, I think it was like a Despair Revenge with crazy speed substats. I mean, he was HP. I think he was HP either across the board or HP crit rate HP with um, like plus 90 speed from substats on a Despair set. So without a doubt, something that no one's going to expect. And if you're taking a team like that, like I could even imagine, I could see this right here: AOE stuns, speed buff, plus a very very high speed Amon like this, providing either a provoke or or a stun, like that would be sick. I would love to see it. So if you know who you are, man, if you follow this channel, by all means, put your name down below because I want to check that stuff out again. That was pretty sick. I saw him once, like 3 weeks ago, and I haven't seen him up there again, unfortunately. But he had a very very unique Ama, and it just kind of goes to show that regardless of what a particular unit, if they're getting a lot of props or not, because maybe they're just kind of a unit that people used to utilize back in the day, and there's new ones. It's really really cool to see people go back to the drawing board and take some of these units that are sitting in their monster box and try to manipulate them with our runes in order to gain some successful wins on the either arena defense or guild wars defense. So pretty darn cool.
Mhm.
Pretty darn cool. Let me see here. So let's actually take some time to get into my favorite part of the video, epic fails. As you guys know, my guild is called Epic Fails, and we're all about embracing the epic failures, not just in the game but in life. And so I hope that you have figured out a great story to share with us. What is your biggest epic fail in the Summoners War game today?
My epic fail is uh, I was summoning because, as you can see, I don't have much monsters. Like most of my monsters are farmable,
Sure.
so I bought like 4 premium packs. I spent all my crystals. Then I got nothing, only 3 stars. I was upset then because I really needed natural 5 stars. Then I fed all my Devimons to Thessariel.
Oh man. And
So I
so,
really need this
and
tools.
you initially put him into Saurian. I mean, is it? Do you feel that it hasn't been useful to you, or is it just like you wish that you kind of saved him for Theo, or what was the deal?
Yeah, I really wanted for Theo because he lacks two Devimons and Tiana. Third skill really needs a Devimon
Gotcha.
and even Poseidon, you know, because uh, Tessarion, I use him to tank Camillas and Pernas, everything, but I don't use him to attack, so he doesn't need skill ups, you know. So it's kind of waste. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I noticed that I've seen him quite a bit lately with regards to the Saurians being set up in that tanky kind of format, with still high speed. Not a lot of damage based ones out there, but every once in a while you find them. Yeah, very cool. And I kind of wanted to throw it out there since I remember looking at this unit early on. This kind of remind me of I think it was Mever that brought on board a Hua that was rocking crit rate on four. When generally speaking, you see a lot of people utilize um, speed crit damage attack or attack crit damage attack with speed subsets. What I
Mhm.
mean, obviously, I can understand with regards to this particular rune here why you would go ahead and utilize it, but why in your opinion do you find it valuable to go crit rate on four? Is it just because of the subsets alone, or do you kind of have a method to your madness when it comes to going for higher crit rate, versus a typical attack crit damage attack with moderate to high crit rate?
Well, my best attack runes is on Theomars and Sigmarus. So uh, my Hua had around 60 or 55 critical hit, and it's not good in arena or Guild Wars, Dragons B10. I was making a team around her in Dragons B10 with Galleon, but I really need Verdehaio to make a really speed team. I really tested with my friends Verdehaio and I made uh, Dragons B10 in under 2 minutes
Hmm.
with her. Uh, I really need more speed from substats. I think the slot 5 is really bad because I don't know if it only with me, but I can drop at all slot 5.
Yeah,
It's
they having a
it's
good
like
level slot five. And again, we'll put a quick shout out to Kuranthir for those that followed my. I think I was sitting around arena grinding like episode like in the 70s, mid 70s to 80s, where we got to talking after our um, educate and dominate. Again, guys, Kuranthir is another one of the people that are have done the series with us. He talked about the typical setups of Hua and if most people love to go the speed crit damage attack or whatnot, you can definitely kind of go the route that Zero's going with attack on two if you can pull out the speed subsets that you need. And one of the recommendations that he gave for me um, was trying to get roughly about that 60 speed as far as
mm-hmm.
subsets go, in addition to attack or damage attack. If you can pull that, you'll be sitting at about 2k attack and anywhere from 130 to 160 crit damage depending on your runes. And with that kind of setup, on a defense broken unit, you could do anywhere from 20 to 25k. It's pretty
Yeah.
sick. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
if you're rocking violence, that's just an opportunity to do an absurd amount of damage over time. In addition to procking, having the opportunity to proc a double attack and knock them out right there, just one shot. So pretty cool,
Exactly.
pretty cool,
Yeah.
awesome. Let me see here. So we're kind of wrapping up the video here. I was gonna see if I can give this opportunity for you to give some shout outs out there. If anyone you give them a shout out to or your guild to. Or...
Well, my guild, who like uh, it's with me since I was just a noob, since I was fighter 3. Um, I learned a lot from them. Brawl is actually a really good leader because, uh, as I said before, Smasher, my my guild leader, is really busy and in his life, so he can't play much. And Brolis is a really good leader, and he has a huge knowledge of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to shout out to my Fury Craft group. Hey guys.
Hey guys,
uh,
like hey.
uh, and I would like to ask you to interview Asian the Asian side. Cold or colder stew.
Is it cold steel?
Uh, there's a colder stew out there. He's top three, I guess, in Asia,
Okay.
and I think he speaks English.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you have to. What you have to do is we'll have to get the full name, look it up, and so I can take it out. So if you do happen to be watching my channel, by all means, you can get in contact with me in the Reddit. Childish402 is my username. Send me a private message there. We get talk
Mhm.
there. In addition, if you have any if you have any connections with anybody of our previous Educate Dominant guests, they all have my personal information and whatnot, so they can share it with you, so you can get on board if you can get an interview going. So, all right,
Yeah,
I think that's about it, my man. Is there anything else you want to add in the video before we close it off?
yeah. Our guild is currently recruiting guardian people. You can line me or Brolis. My line is 0bit, and Brolis is BROLLYZ. You can line us or find us in channel 65.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thanks again for all your time and effort. I appreciate you coming out, making this thing. I know that our time difference is not too bad, but I can imagine with the time difference, when that's going to be kind of crazy to make these interviews work. And so I appreciate you taking the time to
Mhm.
meet up with my time, and get the job done. So thank you.
Thank you.
All
Thank you,
right.
bro. All right.
Take care, guys. It's your boy Childish and 0bit with Childish Plays checking out. We will see you in the next video. We're out.